Imagine, if you will, that you have to travel from Oklahoma City to Atlanta. You can drive 850 miles in 12 hours on interstate highways. Maybe you can fly it. Figure 2 to 4 hours being herded like cattle, depending on connections. But even though this doesn't usually jump to mind as overlanding territory, what kind of route could you make of it if you had 10 days for the trip? Well, my granddaughter was graduating from Georgia State, so I was going to travel to her graduation party at Warner Robins Air Force Base, Georgia. En route, I'd pick up my daughter, her aunt, in Atlanta. She'd be flying in from Houston. I cobbled together a route, including a section of the Oklahoma Adventure Trail, a couple days at Caddo Lake State Park in Texas, some county and forest service roads from a friend in Mississippi, and the Georgia Traverse. Another friend, Kirby, would join me for the first couple days of the trip. In all, I'd drive only about 100 miles of interstate. Most of the rest of the trip would be on dirt and 2-lane back roads.
Good morning, everyone. Today is day 1, SEEX, and today I'm going to be driving with Kirby. Right now we are still in Sulfur. We're going to stop here at the fountain that gives the town its name.
This is a Vendome well here in Sulfur, Oklahoma, and it does reek of the smell of sulfur here from the water. And you're free to have a drink if you can bear the taste.
There's an area down here, used to be the smallest national park in the country. In the 1980s, they decommissioned it. It is still part of the Chickasaw National Recreation Area. And we are going to drive through the Chickasaw National Recreation Area. The park, you can see the name over there, Platte Historic District. It was Platte National Park.
And there it is, folks, Oklahoma's little Niagara Falls.
We are headed over to Bromide Hill.
And the town of Sulfur below us there. There is the fountain that we were at earlier, down in Sulfur. And we're here at the outdoor campus of the Chickasaw Cultural Center. This part of the Cultural Center is free to visit. A lot of displays on the housing and facilities that the Chickasaw Nation used.
Now we're going to head back out to Highway 177, head south, pick up the official Oklahoma Adventure Trail after a little while here. Alright, we are on the Oklahoma Adventure Trail officially. I hope the bridge is open. Yeah, it looks like it's still open. Pretty neat bridge though. You can see why it's under construction. Definitely needs some work. Well, this is obviously not a well-used stretch of road, huh? Yeah, a lot of this part of Oklahoma has oil well operations. That's what that is over on the right, of course. Road closed, so we're not going to be able to follow the map. Looks like they had some pretty major flooding through here. Well, sadly, we don't get to cross the Cool Bridge. Well, stumbled on this Fort Washita.
Confederate State Cemetery, 1861 to 1865, 200 unknown soldiers.
Like the cabin's down the hill down there, the stables cabin, it's got flour sacks, and it says, 30 pounds, 50 pounds, whatever it is, flour.
I guess understanding and we would figure those guys who fought in the war, whether it was in the blue or the gray, one-handed. 1, 2, 3.
We had a nice visit to the Fort Washita historic site. During the Civil War, the Union Army moved out, and the next day the Confederate Army moved in. And it would turn out to be the only Confederate fort within the Indian Territories. We're taking a spur down here to Carpenter's Bluff Bridge. If you look off to the left here, you can see that they're putting a brand spanking new bridge in. I'm not sure what they'll do with this one, but I expect they won't be letting traffic drive across it. Up here to the top of this, just go four-wheel drive just for grins. Road closed. Well, we're on a detour. And we are on the Ode again.
It was getting late in the day, and we'd driven over 180 miles from Sulfur. So we found a nearby gas station, then headed for Caddo Lake State Park to camp. Tomorrow morning we'd pick up the Ode in the town of Caddo. Kirby, what we got going on over here?
Got a little scrambled eggs and sausage on breakfast burritos coming up.
Good morning, everyone. It is day 2 of SEEX. Kirby prepared a nice breakfast for us here at Caddo Lake State Park. We are now going to backtrack a little bit and pick up the Oklahoma Adventure Trail at the Circus Cemetery. And we are back on the Oklahoma Adventure Trail and are turning into what's called the Circus Cemetery. are leaving the Circus Cemetery. We turned off the Oklahoma Adventure Trail. There was a sign for the Fort Towson Historic Site. Those Confederate reenactors yesterday had mentioned that to us, and so I thought we'd come up here and check it out. We're departing Fort Towson. While here, we learned that Fort Towson was the second military fort built in Oklahoma, and it was key to defending the border of the United States from the border with Mexico. It was established in 1824, and at that time, Texas was a part of Mexico. We are taking a segment of the Oklahoma Adventure Trail that will take us up to Broken Boat, which will be the end of our travels on the Oklahoma Adventure Trail. Well, we are coming to the end of the Oklahoma Adventure Trail for us. It is, of course, a huge loop around the state of Oklahoma. I've read numbers of 800 to 1,000 miles. And we've driven maybe 230, 240 miles of it. Nothing technically challenging on this section. There are other sections that have a few technical challenges, but some pretty scenery, pretty farm and ranch country. And a few notable sights. Well, I've been driving for a couple hours from Broken Bow, and GPS says I'm about 25 miles outside of Caddo Lake State Park, which is my next destination. Plan on spending a couple of days there and spending some time out in the water tomorrow. I hired a guide and boat for tomorrow.